Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Pamela here with Passionate About Scrapbooking, your Stampin' Up demonstrator. Welcome to Feel Good Friday. Today is the day that I do cards or 3D projects. Today I'm doing a card with a lot of technique in it. So no fancy fun folds or 3D projects, but I do have a fun project card to share with you using the Seaside Wishes Bundle. That bundle includes the stamp set, the dies, and a hybrid embossing folder, which is really, really awesome. So if you're joining me today or watching the replay, please say hello and let me know you are here. A like or a heart would be awesome as well. That actually helps. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure to do that so that you can see what I have going on in the future. I have lives Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of every week. Monday is my Make It Monday live with Pamela, where I share a 12 by 12 two-page layout. Hello, Doris. Thank you so much. There you go. I do scrapbook pages on Monday and Wednesday. Then on Wednesdays, I do story and sketch. That's an 8.5 by 11 page. I'm going to share what I just did on Wednesday with a free little goodie that I have linked in that video. Doris, you can go to my main YouTube channel and look under Make It Monday for the playlist, and you can see my previous scrapbook pages. And then same thing for story and sketch on Wednesdays. So anyways, I haven't shown my face in a while because I haven't been getting up early enough to fix my hair and put a little makeup on. But today I had to be somewhere at 8 a.m. So I've already had an appointment today. So I got up and straightened my hair, just did it simple, and then put my makeup on. I actually had an ARD to go to for my stepson to prepare for the new school year, which starts next Wednesday. So anyhow, I made it back here about 9:15, and thankfully I got everything prepared yesterday. So what do you think of my cup? My coffee mug. This is, I have two of these. I got them for Jeff and I because if you watched Wednesday's video, I talked about the PB&J, what that stands for Jeff and I. Good morning, everyone. Say hello. Let me know you're watching. All right. So I guess while I'm here and you can see my face, I will share with you. Hey, Debbie, good morning. The special that's going on for the month of August is our Designer Series paper sale. So all of the Designer Series papers that are featured in our 2024-25 catalog are on special for 15% off. So there's a very nice selection of them here. There are 12 by 12 and 6 by 6 paper packets. So DSP stands for Designer Series Paper. So you'll want to stock up on those. Today I'll be using the Country Woods DSP, but I have actually so I've been using the Country Woods right here. I think I've used the Country Lace maybe just a smidge so far. Haven't done a lot with that one yet. I did a card using this Full of Life. I've done a 8.5 by 11 page along with a card workshop. I haven't shared that fully yet with the Lily Pond Lane. And then I've done some cards with the Mediterranean blooms right here. And then these two right here and down here, these three, I just ordered. I should have them mid next week. And then on the back side, this Take to the Sky. So it's got some clouds and airplanes and things in it. Good morning, Carolina, right? I think I'm seeing an A at the end. From California. Thank you for sharing that with me. So this is one that I ordered as well. Then there's the Thoughtful Journey. I have done some cards with it that I think I might have just shared in a post. I've done a lot with the To Market. I did a card workshop and an 8.5 by 11 scrapbook page and a 12 by 12 two-page layout. Then over here, I've done 3 two-page layouts using the Unbounded Beauty. You can see all of these photos on my Facebook page or Instagram. I think I did Instagram. And then I do have videos on some of these. And then these two down here, I got this one, but I didn't order this one. So one is Wildly Flowering, so I'm excited to try that one. So that's our special for the month of August. We're in August already. Goodness gracious. All right, so let me pull, oops, that's not what I wanted. Let's see, I'm gonna pull up my August host code. I have a link for that. Let's see, I'll copy that and then I'll type in. Thank you, Carolina. That's a very pretty name. Good thing you're not in the Carolinas right now because I know they're having lots of issues with Debbie. Not the Debbie on the live, but Debbie I guess it was just a tropical storm. Yes, the Unbounded Beauty has been beautiful. All right, so let me look at, let's see here, I'll put my August host code link and just share that with you real quick. If you need to get you some paper, it's a great, great deal. Just to I got hair that's, sorry, I'm gonna get that out of there. Anyways, what was I gonna say? I have that squirrel brain sometimes. I don't remember now. If I think of it, I'll let you know. It had something to do with this, but now I can't think of it. All right. So, I was going to tell you about the 12 by 12 and 6 by 6, the sheets. When you order these, you get, if it's a 12 by 12 sheet, you get 6 designs, a total of 12 because it's front and back, and you get 2 of each sheet. So you get a total of 12 sheets. And then, so the regular retail on these are $12.50, and then you can get them for $10.62. The 6 by 6 are really cool because there is, I think it's still, well, it's more than 12 designs. It's more like 24 designs, I think. That's like front and back, 24. And you get 48 6 by 6 sheets. But when you put those, so you get 4 of each design, that makes a 12 by 12. So that's what's kind of cool about it, how you can kind of visualize it. All right, so I'm going to jump into what we're doing today. So I'm going to switch my camera over. All right, so here we go. All right, so I have just one card to share with you today, but today I'm going to share 3 different ways to use this hybrid embossing folder. So I had a little fun with it, and so we're going to be getting inky and messy. I was looking also to see where my, I have a cloth here. I was looking for my other cloths. I'm not sure where they went. The cat probably got them and knocked them off somewhere. So if you joined me on, there's the card that we're going to be creating. This is what I made on Wednesday. This is an 8.5 by 11 page that I made. This part of the page was inspired by a card, so you could totally do this part right here on a card. And then this portion down here was inspired by another demonstrator's scrapbook page layout that I saw. And I did a flip flap with my journaling under there. And then I'm going to do my very, very best to do this every Wednesday now. I also created a sketch. So you can get this sketch, you can screenshot it right now, but you can also download it. And I think, let me see, I may just try to make it easy for you here. Let me go to, is that my live? I don't know what's, oh no, I'm sorry. So it's freaking me out a little bit. Let's see here. Let me go to my channel and I can go to yesterday's video, or not yesterday's, Wednesday's. Let me see if I can copy the link for you and get back to where I'm supposed to be. All right, this is, I'm going to put in here, so if you're interested in an 8.5 by 11 free scrapbook page sketch, I don't know how long, that's a nice long link, but that'll work. You just click that link and should take you to the PDF. I know it says YouTube, but I just grabbed it off of YouTube, so hopefully that'll work for you. If you try it, let me know. Okay, so we're using the Seaside Wishes stamps, dies, and embossing folder. So this comes, you can buy them individually, but you can also buy them as a bundle. So when you buy them as a bundle, I think you get 10% off. I'm not sure if it applies to this one or not right now, because this may have been I don't know if this was an online exclusive or from something else prior to me joining Stampin' Up. So this should be over here. All right, so these are all the dies that you get. So we'll be playing with most of these dies. I featured almost all of them. And then here's the stamp set, which you can see on the front right there. So it's got some great messages. You absolutely made my day. Your friendship is the best gift. Love you. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. So I was able to use this one over here on my scrapbook page the other day. And then I'm using these two on the card today. All right, so let's see what else we are using. I have the Unbounded Love stamps and dies. I'm going to be using this die right here, just one out of here. Okay, so I've already pre-cut that. So you can use any kind of die or just cut a square out if you want. But that's all I used in that one. And so I won't even need it because I have pre-prepped ahead of time. Then I've got stamp sets here. I have Pecan Pie, Crumb Cake, Basic Beige, Petal Pink, and Lost Lagoon. I think I used all those on the project. So I'm just gonna, I did want to share with you about the clear envelopes, but I'll do that, I think, here in just a little bit. Are you familiar with the fact that you can mail your cards in clear envelopes? I really like to do that because then it makes it even more of a fun surprise when you get them in the mail. Now, it does cost a little bit more to do that, but I will, after the live, share a link to the clear envelopes. All right, so I've got my packet of goodies here. I have some These are not available anymore, but they worked really well with this, so I decided to use them so I can use these up. So you could use something similar, but these are Earth Tones Shimmer Gems. Okay, I'll be using these kind of beige ones down here. I have a little bit of linen thread here. This was actually from a paper pumpkin kit, I believe, that I had left over, so I am gonna use that. And then I've got all my paper. Okay, I've got some extra stuff in back here too, but I'm gonna just pull out all these that we're actually gonna be using. So I have some great tips and tricks to share with you, and as we go along creating the page, I will share that information. Okay, I'm gonna keep this handy so that I can share some of that info. I didn't even realize I had this isn't even the oil that I wanted. It's probably good though for me right now. So I'm gonna throw on a little oil just to, I use a Endoflex. I meant to put this on ahead of time. It just smells so good and even adds to my creativity. I had Raven. Raven would be good for the allergies. We have ragweed is high right now. So be sure to say hello if you're joining me. Let me know. You don't have to let me know where you're viewing from as far as YouTube or Facebook, because it will show me when you comment. Hello, Rita. I just missed you. I just scrolled through to see. So welcome, Rita from Iowa. All right, let me get situated and let's get busy. We're going to do a little bit of blending. So I've got my blending brush here too. This is a standard size card. We're going to, so I'll fold that here in a minute. I've got some of my pieces already cut just to make it go a little bit faster, but I am going to share a few tips on these. These are all pieces from those dies. We'll put those over here out of the way. We'll have to do a little bit of stamping on that label right there. These are pieces that go on the inside of the card. And then I think this is a scrap. I'm trying to remember. Yes, I've got to stamp some starfish on here. So stamping and stamping. We'll do a little bit of stamping and sponging on this piece. This is for the inside of the card. And then I have, these are not all the same size, as you can see. So this one is going to be for the outside of the card. And then these are going to be used to show you, all three of these will be used to show you the 3 techniques of using the stamps with the die and the embossing folder. Kind of a combination of each one. But they all, I think, involve the embossing folder, which is a hybrid embossing folder. So if you haven't seen that, can't wait to share that with you. Okay, so let's get started with, I'm going to put this part of my card together real quick, or just score it. Bring in my paper trimmer. Let me move this over here so everything kind of stays. All right, so I need to score. Almost looked like I scored it, but I didn't. I'm going to do it this way. So this is a 5.5 by 8.5 piece. So it's half a sheet of the 8.5 by 11. And then we take it and we score it at 4.25. So right down the middle. That's my cutting blade. This is my scoring blade. So I'm going to go over that a couple of times and it gives me a nice little score there. I think that's all I need the trimmer for the moment. And then I'll just fold that. I'm going to see if I can locate my bone folder. There it is. give that a nice crease so it lays as flat as possible. I'm going to go ahead and add this into the inside. Now, if you have any questions about anything while I'm creating, be sure to let me know, and I will try to keep an eye out on, hey Carrie, from Canada. I'll keep an eye best I can on the chat or the comments. And let me look. I'm guessing y'all can all hear me just fine. Looking to see if there's any other things I need to look at. I think I'm good. All right, so that's the inside. And while we're here on the inside, I can go ahead and do this piece. I just did a 1 by 4. This piece was a 4 by 5 1/4. And this is part of the Country Woods DSP paper. Works really, really well with this stamp set, this bundle. And this piece right here is Pool Party. Okay, then we need to do some technique. I was thinking, let me do I think I'm gonna do my stamping or some of it. Let's see. This piece goes in there, so I've got a stamp on it. So I'm gonna lay that over here. We'll get it kind of out of the way. And then this piece was for stamping. And we're gonna do some stamping and embossing on these here in just a minute. Okay, so got a little glue right there. Wipe that up here in a minute when I get my chamois out. All right, we need our stamp set. I'm going to do this one right here. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. And if you're just joining me and you've never followed along or know my story, I am a former Close to My Heart maker. So I am using my Close to My Heart blocks, just FYI. I'm using mostly, pretty much everything else other than, you'll see, I've got a few Close to My Heart things. My trimmer was close to my heart. Some of my tools I still use, okay, that are close to my heart. All right, so we're going to stamp this in Pecan Pie. And we want it positioned up like this. And then just center it onto that piece right there. I love the Stampin' Up glass mat because I don't have to have any foam or anything underneath my piece. It always seems to stamp perfectly. So I'm going to put my finished pieces over here. And that'll be when we're ready to build the card. Maybe that won't be in the way. All right, and then I think that's all I need for the pumpkin. Not I'm thinking of my cat, I guess. Pecan pie, or I'm just thinking of pie and thought of pumpkin pie before pecan pie. We call it pecan here in the South. Up north, y'all may call it pecan. All right, I'm on my second cup of coffee because I had to get up really early this morning for a meeting at the school at 8 o'clock, getting my stepson situated for the new school year that starts on Wednesday. All right, so let's do, I need to pull out my chamois. I have found, this is close to my heart as well, but this is Stampin' Up, and this silicone mat fits perfectly over top of this. So it keeps my mat, or my chamois, moist, because this helps it dry out if I want it to dry out. So I'll let it dry out every couple of days, but I try to prepare as much as I can the night before for this, for my lives, and then never fails, I forget to get my chamois wet before I sit down for my live sometimes. Let's see. Okay, so let me put that away. Try to clean up my mess while I go along. I'm just going to set that over here. I think it'll be fine. Next, we want the starfish, both of them. It's actually going to go on this. I'll try to remember to tell you the colors as I go. So there is a lot of technique in this card, just FYI. So I had fun with it. But as you would not probably want to make this multiple times. Maybe 2 or 3 times would be fine. Okay, so we've got the starfish. This is basic beige. I've got some, this is French vanilla from Close to My Heart. So it's a little bit lighter than the Very Vanilla with Stampin' Up, but I haven't got since I have plenty of French Vanilla and White Daisy cardstock with Close to My Heart, I've been using that, and then I'll transition over to the Stampin' Up papers. And I have to stamp on that here in a minute. All right, so let's get these done, and we'll die cut these here in a few minutes. All right, so you want to be sure when you put these down, just kind of lay them so that they just kind of fall on there. Put them where you want them. Okay, this one, they're going to be in 2 different colors. So I'm going to position this. I think I got it on here pretty well. Okay, so if you're going to stamp and then die cut, you want to make sure that it's not these tentacles or whatever you call their legs aren't off at all. That's why you just kind of lay it down and let it form to the way it's supposed to be. If you try to manipulate it on your block, then it's not going to match up to the die. I had that problem yesterday. So there's a little tip right there for you. I'm going to do this one in the Petal Pink. So just ink that up. And we can position it kind of anywhere we want on here. I have plenty of room. And I think I'm going to do 2 of these. So I'm going to do one, I think let me look at my sample for the inside. Yeah. I wanted to decorate up the inside just a little bit. So I've got a little 1x1 block here that I think works. Let me look. Okay, so we'll do another one right here. And on this one, it is supposed to be open right there. So there's nothing wrong with the stamp. That's just the design. Let me clean both of these up. Good morning, Lori. Is it a holiday? Because I'm surprised there's so many of y'all on today. Fridays are usually my quietest days. So, but, all right. So I think I'm done with that one. I'm going to just move those stamp sets out of, or those ink pads out of the way. Oops, I do need, however, the Lost Lagoon. All right, so see how it's kind of shaped? That's how you want it when you stamp it. You know, sometimes it'll turn a different way. Like in 2, there's a little hook in one of the arms, so that's how you kind of tell. And that helps you do the dies, which I need to pull out here to die cut in a minute. We'll pull some more out shortly. All right, so I also need to do this one. Let me make sure I got it clean. I think I did. And we're going to do it in Lost Lagoon. So we'll have to run that through twice. And we're not done with Lost Lagoon yet. Get that clean and put away. Okay, shh, I'll be quiet. No, just kidding, Carolina. Lori's getting ready for work. All right, so let's do the stamping on this. So I'm going to try not to pull my machines out more than I have to. Then we will do, I think we're doing some of each of these. We're going to do some of the pebbles. I love these cute little things right here. So I'm going to do this one. There's some petals, and then there's also like a little texture stamp that's of sand. You can see it better like right here. So I'm going to be using this one and this one. And we're going to do, probably need my 2x2 block. Oh, and I get to share another little technique. You've probably seen it, but you can't see it a lot on the card, but I did it anyway. So I'm going to stamp in the basic beige, and then I'm just going to roll a little bit into the crumb cake. And I am going to stamp off a little bit, and you can just barely see it, but it does give it a neat little texture. So it's light on the inside and dark on the outside. And then up here, and I did it a couple of times because I wasn't sure where you would see everything. So I'm just gonna do it in a couple of random places. The center of it you won't be able to see. Okay, so just like that. Got some ink on my block, so I'm just gonna pull my chamois out and clean it. Make sure I get the edges and everything off, the ink off the blocks. Put that back. Sorry about that loud smack. All right, and then we're grabbing that little cluster of sand. And I'm gonna do this with the crumb cake. And I'm just gently gonna add some to like each side of the little pebbles. Just adding some more texture and dimension. And then I want to keep out my crumb cake. Keep out my basic beige. If you have trouble pulling these down, I do sometimes, just push right over here a little bit. And then we can put that right here. Clean up that. And then we're going to do a little bit of sponging. All right, let's see here. So we need the brush, blending brush. Stampin' Up does have these, but I had a collection from Close to My Heart. Okay, even had the name of what it was, so I cleaned it off previously in Wednesday's video to get any color off that didn't need. So I'm kind of inking it up, but I'm tapping off over here the excess. And then I'm just going to swirl. I do have some ink around there, but I'll clean that up in a minute. I'm just going to swirl around the edges to kind of give, what's the vignette type of look. Just around the edges, get a soft color of that basic beige. So then this vanilla cardstock isn't so stark. All right, so I'm considering, I saw a really cool idea today. I think her name's Julie. about doing card templates out of cardstock in like shades of gray. So I'm thinking I might do that and create like a PDF, kind of like I did for the scrapbook page. I'm trying to be careful with what I commit myself to each month, but I'm trying to add a little bit to my business, to my YouTube videos, for my customers. Each month I'm trying to add something new, so I'm trying to evaluate and make sure I don't overwhelm myself. I'm sure some weeks I will be overwhelmed, but I'm trying to get better at being consistent, preparing ahead of time, and so everything goes a little bit more smoothly. Okay, so there is that. I think that's done and ready, so we can put that right here. And then we've got to do some die cutting, so let's do these first. These are going to be easy to do in my little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now, if you were with me Wednesday, you might have heard that for my big cut and emboss, somehow I misplaced my cutting mat. I don't know where it's at. It's probably stuck in something, I'm sure. I know the cat got in here and knocked some things off, but I have looked everywhere and can't find it. So I had to order new ones, and they won't be here till next week. So I've had to improvise a little bit. I think I got it figured out for this card today. All right, so as I mentioned, one of these has kind of a little hook. See that little hook on the arm right there? So it's right there on this image. I have some Post-it tape that I like to use. I found this on Amazon. I have a link in my Amazon store for the Post-it 1-inch tape. So really loved this. It's my go-to now. All right, so let me look and make sure I got this lined up pretty good. I think I do. Once I have it lined up, I like to put that Post-it tape right over the image. And then we'll have to run this through twice since I only have one starfish. And this one's a little more tricky. So let me see. One leg is a little bit longer. I think that's it. Just have to kind of maneuver it. Trying to say, I think that's it. So I think that's as close as I'm going to get right there. All right. And this should go through pretty easily because I find that when I have like a straight edge or even a round edge, I have a little bit harder time using this mini. But see, like that just goes through nice. So I don't know what the deal is. All right, so did pretty well for that. Got those cut out pretty good. This one's okay. It might have been off just a little bit. So I can put this one away. And then I need to use this one to run through one more time. Whoops. All right, so I think that's the long part right there. I've got two different types of contacts. One are long distance and one are near distance. I think I have the long distance in right now for driving. And it makes it a little bit harder to do this, to line things up properly. But that was perfect. That one looks so good. Look at that. Okay. So I think that's all I need because I've got everything else pre-cut. I would do, so here's a tip I wanted to share, something as I was creating. So let me put this away. And I'll actually just kind of demo it with the plates so you can see. If you don't know this tip already, you'll want to know it for this particular stamp set and dies. Oops, let me get this put away. Throw that away, I think. And again, I'm just trying to put everything back where it goes. All right, so a little tip on these, which are, there's two different sizes of these dies right here. So the first time I cut this, it sticks inside there, and I couldn't figure out how to get it out because all these little holes seem to be holes on the other side. Sometimes there's a hole that you can poke through with like your pokey tool of some kind. I've got some tweezers that I'll poke things out with, but also then all the pieces stuck inside there too, and I had to figure out, I finally got it pulled out, and then I had the hardest time getting all these little pieces out. Now we do have a tool with the take a pick tool that you can roll over top of this. There's also a foam. You actually get two foam pieces, but this foam piece, so you can lay it on top of here and roll out those pieces. When you do that, it does kind of roll up your image, whatever it is, but you can just kind of flatten it back out. So this one's very flexible because there's a lot of cardstock missing in it. There's also this piece over here that you can poke out as well. And then this time when I did this one, I actually remembered that you can use a dryer sheet. Now they usually say do a used dryer sheet, but I didn't have one available because we'd already taken the trash out for the week. So I just grabbed a dryer sheet that it's unscented, and I laid it on the bottom like this underneath my cardstock, and then put the die and ran it through, and that helped tremendously. So not all of the pieces stuck on here, but it loosened everything up, and this came out a lot easier. So there's another tip for you. Okay, so I'll put that back because I don't need to cut it. I'm going to stick that back in my little baggie. All right, so I think we're done with the mini one. Now let's get to the fun part. Okay, so I've got 3 different pieces here. This one is going to be just dry embossed. So let's do that. I'll pull out my big machine now and kind of put it up a little bit higher so you can see maybe. Let me grab my plates. Now again, I told you that I I'm missing my cutting plate. So I don't know what happened to the cutting plate. So I'm using just this primarily. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. Now these are for the 3D embossing folders, plate 1 and 4. So that is when I want to run through primarily the embossing folder plus the die that goes inside of it. But it's still, I think, considered a 3D embossing folder, so I'm just going to use these two to do my dry embossing. And normally I would use the 2 number 3 plates, but I can't do that. All right, so here is that embossing plate. Look how pretty it is. And so it should give you, this isn't going to be quite as tight, so the tighter you have, you're able to squish it the more texture your cardstock will have. I'm just going to place it, I'm going to line it up. This is cut at, let me double check. I don't know if I can check on here. Let me see. Let me do it this way. It's cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. So we're going to, I want to make sure that all my sand dollars are on there. So it's pretty much centered in there. Can lay that down and like double check. Yeah, all my sand dollars are fitting inside that piece. I'm going to get a little texture on the corners as well, just a little bit. Okay, so now I can run that through here. So this is going to be our background piece on the front. It's pretty snug. I'm going to have to move my machine to do a little bit of, show you a little bit of stuff. All right, and then we got that piece. How pretty is that? Okay. Okay, we'll do a little bit of sponging on this just to distress all of this a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and put that right here. So we'll come back to do that before we assemble. All right, now I want to show you, I'm thinking for a minute. Okay, so let me move this because we're going to ink up the embossing folder a little bit. Actually, I'm going to leave this open and I'm just going to put it on the floor and then I'll bring it right back up when I'm ready for it. All right, so this is the front of your embossing folder. You've got the Stampin' Up logo right there. These two pieces are the same. So on the first one, what I'm really doing with this one, there's two purposes. I'm going to create a template, one, because it's going to end up cutting out those sand dollars, but then I'm also going to be creating one of the images that I want to put on the card. So we're going to use some, I think I used the basic beige, set that aside, and I'm going to open up my folder like this, open up my ink pad, and I'm just going to start pressing that ink onto this side only, to the top side only, the one that has that Stampin' Up logo. So I'm just kind of pouncing it back and forth. It's getting ink all over, but this is, it's going to do just the raised portions primarily. And I want to make sure I get really kind of heavy into this area to make sure I get some ink in there. So I have to kind of manipulate it into there a little bit. Just kind of a corner. Get as much ink as you can into that, into those sand dollars right here. Okay? It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't really look like it, but you get enough. You get a little bit of ink that it's going to help it stand out. Okay, so we can put that away now. Kind of move this over to the side. Let's bring back in the embossing machine, die cutting machine, and now we need this piece right here. So this piece is going to, I found that if I kind of lay it right there, I can start to kind of maneuver it and it'll just kind of lock in place. When it's not moving around, it's locked in place. Now I can take this piece and I'm going to, first, so I don't have to move this around too much, get your plates ready. I only need plate 1, and I've got plate 4 handy. So I can lay that down. I'm using my chest as a, so I'm going to lay this down on here center it as best I can. This is a card front. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Okay, and then just, oh, I moved it, darn it. I don't think I got a little bit on there, so I'm going to flip it over. Might could just tape it. I think that'll work. That'll help. Okay, and then close that. Lay this piece on there and run it through it. All right, so that's a little bit tighter going through there because you've got the die sandwiched in there as well. That is what it was made for. All right, so you've got this piece. Now this is pretty. Do you see how the color went around? I cut my piece of tape, which is fine. All right, so this is going to be my template for the next piece. There's the, I don't think I need that piece right now, but let me show you what it did to these starfish. Look at those. It added some color, not starfish, sand dollars. So you got 3 pieces here. I'm going to use one, which I think I'm going to use this one on the card. These 2 I can use on additional projects. Okay, I'm going to get up real quick and let the dog in. My door is right here to the backyard. My scrapbook office, studio, room, whatever you want to call it, is actually the kitchen nook right off the kitchen. So I guess normally you would have like a breakfast table in here or something, but I've got my scrapbook. I finagled it so it works really well now for my, so you'll see you'll have a little bit of ink on here, so you'll want to clean that off. That's why you want to have a wet chamois or a towel of some kind, just to clean that up a little bit before we go to the next step. And then you've got to clean this as well. So cleans up really pretty easily. You can run it under the faucet if you want and then dry it. But for today's, we will just use the chamois. Make sure we get all the color off of it. Getting those nooks and crannies. Okay, so I think we're pretty good. Move this over to the side one more time. So we have one more, something under there. Yep, that piece. All right, and now here's another, the third way that you can use this embossing folder. All right, and stamps. We're using all of it this time, which is fun. So I'm going to move that to the side for a second. This piece is the same size as this piece, so I'm going to use some removable dots. I have removable glue dots, and I'm going to put a glue dot like right up here and maybe right here and right down here. And then I'm just going to line this up. So I'm so excited I finally figured this out. I don't know if someone's done a tutorial on it yet or not, but I was struggling to figure out how to use the stamps with the dies since they're positioned on there, and how do you line them up and cut them out since this is all one piece. Finally figured it out. Okay, so now I'm going to take my sand dollar stamps. On this, you only have these 2 sizes right here. I don't have that one. But when it cuts out, you can see that you can still use all 3 of them. Okay, so this one, and it does line up in here, so you got to kind of figure that out. So it's right about like that. So that's how you use your template. You're going to put your stamp right in there. And it doesn't, kind of try to center it best you can. First I thought I was off, and then I figured out. Okay, and then this one I think is right there. Okay, I'm going to do these one at a time though, because I'm not sure I can get it all lined up. So I am going to do this one with Lost Lagoon. So I'm actually just stamping on that cardstock, but using this as a template. Okay, so ink up your stamp. Make sure you get it well inked up. I'm going to bring this down so I can see it better. And then I've got to line it up best I can right there in that template. Your little stencil, I guess is what it is. Make sure the ink is soaking in good to this. This is basic beige cardstock. Okay, so you've got that. Let's clean that up and change it out for that other one. I only need this one, but I'm doing all this work. I might as well stamp the other one and get it cut out so that I can use it on another project. So just FYI, I will be using this same suite or bundle on Monday for my Make It Monday. I think I can switch to a smaller block for that one. Let me see that I have, I think it's going to be positioned kind of like that. So again, I'm going to do the same color. You could do a different color if you wanted to, but I'll just do the same one. Got to get close so I can see. A little bit of light. This one's a little bit trickier. Okay, I think I'm close. Okay, I did good. Okay, so you're just using that as a template, kind of a, don't know if you'd want to call it a stencil, probably just a template. Putting my stamps away, I think. There we go. I just have to, I like to line them up. So I'm a little bit slower than most. Okay, so then we're just gonna pull that off. Those, remember, those were removable dots. Okay. You can save this to use over and over again if you want. I'm gonna take those glue dots off though, or it'll just stick to everything. So you can use one of those little plastic clear baggies to keep your templates in if you want. All right, so now we're gonna use these three pieces together. Let me bring back in my cut and emboss. And then I'll show you, let's see here, we want, so this, make sure you have your Stampin' Up logo up there. Should be able to get it to where it kind of nests in there, okay? And then from here, this is where I kind of want to go this way. Hold it. Oops, there we go. So you can see through, okay? And you can get it lined up. So I'm gonna turn it so I can see it. There we go, there's that one. And then, so just get it lined up the best you can. Each stamp may not be exactly where it needs to be, but I've got it like that. Then make sure it's closed and still lined up. If you need to, I think I need to maneuver it just a little bit more. I may have shifted because I'm planning on using this one, so I want it to be pretty good. See if I can get the, all right, I think it's pretty good. And then just keep your thumb on it, make sure it doesn't move. and lay it down here. And so what's cool is you're going to have an embossed stamped image now once it runs through here. And then all we really have to do is assemble. We have a couple little distressing things to do, but then we're just assembling. All right, watch this. I love this. I love that so much. Look at that. Okay, that piece can be another template or used for something else. You could, my original idea was like to use that as the base. You'd have to cut it down. Well, you wouldn't have to. This would be the actual card front. But you could take these pieces in different colors maybe and then line them up in here, but put them on foam, the Stampin' Dimensionals, to raise them up. So that's a thought. You could do that with that one that has that ink on it. So that would give it some more texture. Just line it up how it's supposed to go. So those are some of the additional ideas with that. Now I'm going to use this one. So I have my sand dollars in done two different ways. They look pretty similar, but they're two different techniques. And then these I can save for another project. So I'm just going to put that all in my stash. And I think everything's clean. I can put this away. And I think we're ready to finish up our card. Move things out of the way. I love my IKEA calyx behind me, by the way. While I'm here, I'm going to clean up my glass mat a little bit. So just a wet, damp chamois helps get off any ink and glue that you might have on there. If it's glue, you just have to rub a little bit harder. All right, and then it's pretty dry if your chamois is not too wet. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. So I've got these pieces. All of these are just to layer on along with that and this. This is another piece, sheet of that DSP, the Country Woods. It's all kind of wood texture, different types. I'm going to do some distressing on that. We've got that done. I need to do a little bit on this too. So let's do, looking for my tape. I can go ahead and layer this piece onto the Pool Party mat. And so that's ready to go. This piece, I just want to do a little bit of the blending around the edge to give it that kind of silhouette, vintage, vignette is the word I was looking for. And you can make it as dark or light as you want, depending on the pressure that you put down. You can go in a little bit further if you want, so it kind of hits those grains of sand. If I want more pressure, that's where I just use my thumb right there and I can press down a little bit more. Does anybody have any questions? What'd you think of the techniques with that embossing boulder? Making sure I'm not missing anyone's comments. All right, and since there's more here and here, I am kind of going in a little bit further. And I tap, and then I tap off a little bit so I don't get a big blob or on my card sample. Okay, so most of this is going to be hidden anyways, so you'll see a little bit of just the edges around on this card. And on this one, let me wipe up my ink real quick. I'm just going to do like a direct to paper is what we call it. It's ink to paper, direct ink to paper. So it's just that paper's absorbing a little bit of that ink around the edges. I was originally like sliding it, but these foam pads actually tear. So learned that the hard way. Have a couple of chunks out of a few of them. So now I just tap it, okay? So you can see that ink on the edges just a little bit. All right, here we go. Time to assemble and finish up our card. Should come together pretty quickly. I want to remember my embellishments. Let me pull those out. And we're going to start with this piece right here and just glue that on. I need to fill my liquid glue container up, so I haven't been using it recently. All right, so that's a piece of Pool Party. We've got basic beige with the basic beige sponged around it. Okay, that's pretty just in itself right there. Okay, next we want this DSP, the Country Woods DSP. And you can kind of just look at the pattern. I like it when anything, if it's darker, it goes at the bottom. And this one was cut, so this was 4 5 1/4. And this one is 1 inch by 5 1/4. And then we need to do our twine. I only did 1 full length. The first time I did this, I'm going to do 2, the same length this time. So I'm just guesstimating. That should give me plenty to do a bow. I didn't measure it. And then I'm going to do another piece. So you can take 1 long piece and wrap it around twice if you want. This time I'm just going to do 2. So I'm going to go underneath here, line it up with that seam right here, and I want my bow down here toward the bottom. So make sure I have plenty to work with on either side. I need a little bit more this way. And I'm going to tie a knot, and I want it fair. Oops, I didn't get both pieces there. 1 second. All right, I want it fairly. Just pull that until it kind of hits the seam. And you can maneuver it once you get it done. So I want it fairly low down here. I'm going to tie a knot first. This has just helped me get it tight. Okay, so it's not really going anywhere. And then I'm going to do a little bow. And this one I'll have a double bow. The other one I just had a single bow. So let me find the ends. And then you're just going to maneuver it until you get the size loops you want. I'm going to try to untwist that a little bit. And you can, I'm just going to leave it just like that, I think. And trim these off a little bit so they're not longer than the card. Okay, I think that's good. Now we can put this piece on here. Okay, so I'm going to use some dimensional elements. I went pretty close to the edge right here on both sides. If you haven't noticed, I know I'm a little OCD on some of this, but there we go. And I like patterns, can you tell? Okay, I'm just going to make sure those are on there good and remove that. Anybody else like that? I may use more dimensional elements than some, just because I'm used to using foam tape on my projects. Okay, now I want it about right there and centered. Let me line it up. I think that's pretty close. That's why you wanted that bow down here. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now we're just layering what's left here. All right, so I've got these. Those actually go on the bottom. So I'm just gonna, since I have a sample to follow, I'm going to put these down first. I tucked them in the last time, so just put a little tape here. I know everything's going to be covered up right in here. Then let's do maybe this piece. I just need a little bit down at the bottom. Maybe down. So maybe this is like seaweed. I just chose a complementary color to bring in a little bit more of the kind of white vanilla. Okay, so right there, and then this piece is next. You can just kind of roll some adhesive on it like that. Position it pretty much center. Maybe over a little bit. We'll do it over here a little bit. Down. So then you can see a little bit of that stamped image right there. Then let's do this piece next. You like OCD. You're funny. Funny, funny, Debbie. All right, this one's going to pretty much be on the base right here on the piece. So just need some adhesive. Pull it up a little bit so you can see those cute little pebbles right there. So you're mainly going to see just these right here. And then this piece, we do need a little bit of dimensional elements. So just kind of decide if you wanted a particular way. I'm going to put it right. I'm going to do just 2. Then I can put adhesive on this side because that's going to hit up high. Remember, this was raised up. So I'm going to put those on this piece right here. Let's kind of line it up down a little bit further, like that. And then we have this one. We can just do a little bit of adhesive right down the center. Not all the way to the end of the legs because a couple of them are going to kind of just put it however you want on there, like that. Now we need this piece. Kind of position it like right about there, so we need some dots just along this edge. So 2 will probably be plenty. So what do you think of all the fun technique on this? If you take the time to do this for someone, it better be someone special and that you know will keep your card as a keepsake. Did I put some adhesive? I didn't put adhesive right here. Just one line of adhesive right there would work. Okay. And then I used the opposite color, or the other color, the Pool Party Starfish. Whoops, where'd it go? There it is. To layer like right here. You can do it any way you want it to go. Okay, and then let's do a couple of embellishments. Let me get my other, whoops, it's not that one, it's this one. I didn't end up using this. See, that just pulls right off. Let me grab my putty. I think I have a bunch sticking out. It's like stuck to the, there we go. It's supposed to be kind of a little ball there. And I'm gonna do a couple right here. I'm going to do a big one and a little one right there. And again, these particular ones I don't think are available. I think they were discontinued. I think I got them as a prize for something from my upline, but I'm still going to use them. And then we'll do a large or medium, whatever size, like right up in here. All right, so there is the finished card front. Now let's finish up the inside just real quick. I forgot that I used one of those pieces that I did, the extras. I think I did let me see, what did I do? Oh, and I even stamped. Let me pull this down. So I can take that small piece and use in here along with this. And then we'll do the stamping. And I just glued it right on. I don't even care about that sticky tape being on there because no one's ever going to see it. So no point in trying to get it off. I need to remember to use my silicone mat so my glue doesn't stick right there. And then last but not least, let's do that Love You stamp. Then you don't even have to write love you or I love you. You could use this for all your cards. Just this stamp right here. And put your, and then sign. All right, there we have the Seaside Wishes handmade card. I have 2 of them now. They're just a teeny tiny bit different because of the one thread bow. Got 2 threads down here. So this one, I just wrapped it around a couple of times, and so when I got here, I only had 1 string to do a bow. And let me tell you real quick about these cool envelopes. Let me find, okay, so these are clear envelopes that you can get from clearbags.com. Clearbags.com. If you want to screenshot this, you can. But it's clearbags.com. I'll look up the link for you and put it in the description. It's B45, so it's 5 7/8 by 4 1/2. Okay, you get 100 of these, so they'll last you for a little while. And then the way I like to do it, I'll show you real quick. I take the card, so flip it over. So this is going to be the front. Okay, I'm going to flip it over and tuck my card in there that way. So that's the front. And then I'll just you just pull that off, you seal it. So make sure you've written what you need to on the inside, or put a gift card or something in it too. Of course, I'd be wary to mail that nowadays. Gift cards might be okay. So then you have, it comes in the mail looking like that. But on this side is where I put a label. So I'll do a Avery label with my return address and the address on it. And then you can stick your postage stamp right there. Okay. When I do my label, I try to do it right over top of this so it keeps it sealed closed. People can't easily open it up without the label getting messed up. Okay. So these are so fun. And when you use the clear labels, you do have to use the extra postage. There's, let me show you what's available right now. So it's, I think, like these are your standard size. They're like 70 cents now. It's so expensive. But for me, it's worth it. I like to. These are, I don't know what they're called, but I think they may even be like 30 cents more now. So it ends up being like $1.12, I think, to mail this. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you're not doing a whole bunch of them, then it's worth the effort. It just makes it extra special. So just a thought, you can do that, or you can just use a regular envelope. So anyhow, hope you enjoyed learning a few techniques with the Seaside Wishes Bundle that comes with stamps, dies, and that embossing folder, the Cut and Emboss Hybrid Embossing Folder. Lots of fun things you can do with that. You can do this with that Changing Leaves that I also shared in the month of July, because it's a hybrid embossing folder as well. So super excited to share this with you. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you, Debbie. You're awesome. Okay, so y'all have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday to create a 12 by 12 two-page layout using this collection as well. I'll use the Country Woods along with this bundle and scrapbook some of our Florida vacation photos. I can't wait. That's exactly why I got this collection. But I wanted to share a few different ways to use it as well. So again, have a great weekend. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.